What's up, junkies? Welcome back in for another edition of Pigskin Junkies. Myself, Michael Larson, the big brother, Jared Larson, and Scott Panza, here to talk to you about our weekend recap of college football, NFL. We're watching the Falcons-Eagles game right now. Bryant just went Drano for the Falcons to go up 3-0. Jared's streaming, so I just ruined it for him. Fellas.
It's all right. I saw it stripe from you're only like 3 seconds ahead.
You know, Matt
as soon as
Bryant's
it came off
make
his foot, I knew it was
anyways.
good. Yeah.
That's fair.
How old is he? Got to be 45.
I'll tell you, just keep him going, because if you saw all the missed field goals this weekend, I mean, there are so many kickers needed in the NFL right now. It's wild. And actually, it's kind of upsetting because Gostkowski has not looked good for a couple years now, and he missed another one today. He missed an extra pointer. Just kind of getting aggravating. Missed a field goal in the Super Bowl. I mean,
meanwhile, Vinatieri's out there still going Drano.
No, I think he's going to retire tomorrow.
Too.
Oh, is he?
I think he's
Okay.
just going to retire. He said something today that you'll be hearing from him tomorrow after he missed a couple field goals today.
Yeah, he's been clanking them. I think they were like, "Hey, Adam, we don't want to like disrespect you and have to cut your ass.
Yeah.
So you should retire."
Yeah.
I think that's maybe it for him, honestly.
Go out on top instead of
But the question is, who are you picking up anyways? Because,
Cody
I
Parkey's
mean, there's
on the
not
market.
good kickers just waiting in free agency.
Cody Parkey's busy spending his money from the Bears. He doesn't have time to be kicking.
We'll get to that Bears game in a little bit, but so, fellas, I guess we'll recap our weekends, how everyone did. Jared, I guess if you want to go first, since you kind of had the call. I mean, how do we want? We can either do NFL first, or we can do a quick blip of college real quick, whichever you feel.
Yeah, let's do college. We went 7-0-1. I mean, I don't know. I posted it on the thing. Like, you guys should probably listen to us. We're getting into the point of the season where it'll be some conference matchups. Finally, I was joking with Scott before you got on, Mike. I'm like, finally this weekend we have like real teams versus real teams, which money is money. So we went 7-0-1. We had a great weekend. Temple, easy, outright winner. Kansas State, outright winner. Iowa State was not able to get it done. I was floored. I was like, you feel for the kids at the end of that game. They're like 19 years old and run into the guy who's trying to receive the punt, and that was tough to watch just on a personal level. But they did stay inside the number. So a lot of good things on the college card, but yeah, a lot of outright winners, getting 5, 6, 7 points. So a successful weekend on the college slate, and pushed actually on. I'm trying to think of what else I had in the contest. Would have been a push on Virginia, which that's a whole nother. I could probably talk forever about how bad Florida State is, but we won't do that. We'll spare the listeners of this pod.
Yeah, I was 3-1. I was surprised that Les Miles, after losing to Coastal Carolina, goes up to Boston College and hands them an L in convincing fashion. Nonetheless, that Kansas, I can't remember what they said I think it was like 2009 or something like that was the last time Kansas went on the road and won a game against a Power 5 school, which is pretty disgusting.
Yeah, that's not Kansas. Should not be winning games with the talent that they have on the team, but I guess you got to give Les Miles some credit. The other game for me was Air Force, which is another underdog as an outright winner. So I don't know. Maybe next week I'll throw a little lottery ticket together for the listeners, some money line dog parlays, and see how juicy we can get these things. Those are always fun. That's what I tell Micah. They're like 10 to win 300, or like 10 to win 450. Those are always good ones. So I'll try and put one of those together for this weekend.
No harm in throwing them in there. I was. Yeah. I think Jared and you will agree with me because we talked about it last night. Vegas keeps throwing shade on this team. The AP poll keeps throwing shade on this team, and that's UCF. And I'm okay with Vegas. I said, hey, Vegas, you can keep looking down on this team and not thinking they're as good as they really are, because I'll take all your money. I don't care. But this is a very, very good football team. Yes, Stanford, whatever. You can say they're not that great, blah, 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 blah. But they absolutely, Stanford wasn't in it for a second.
No,
of that
was
football game.
over. That was a blitzkrieg, which I forgot who I was texting with, but I said, like, Micah nailed it on the head. I didn't bet UCF out of spite of. Thankfully, I didn't bet Stanford. I didn't go full opposite way, but like I couldn't get there.
I turned on that game for a little bit, and it was 28-7 or 28-0 before it even started. It seemed like I was like, "Wow, it's quite the number they're throwing up there early."
yeah.
The bounce house.
The bounce house was bouncing. They actually run more plays with Josh Heupel per game than they did when Scott Frost was there. But overall, I was 3-1 for me. I thought FAU wasn't. They found their offense in the second half against Ball State. So, you win some, you lose some, but a home dog you usually feel pretty good about. But hey, it happens. So, which also that was an error. Jared entered in that I picked FAU in our contest or on the site when really I picked Ball State. But hey, I'll take it. So, Scott,
Winners.
whether that's actually what we picked or not, it's a winner. Anyway, Scott, anything for you? This was kind of a weird. I guess today we saw the pass interference reviewable calls really come into the spotlight. Kind of how's your feeling on that, and how is your record, obviously, after this weekend?
I like that they're reviewing the pass interferences, but I think the refs are making it known that unless it's totally egregious, they're not overturning these calls. So I think they're just going to torture the coaches who insist on calling them. Although I did see one overturned, and it was painfully obvious in the Pats-Dolphins game where it was a pick play 4 yards downfield, and they overturned the call, but it didn't matter. The next play, on 1st and 20, Brady delivered a pass for 18 yards, and they ended up scoring a touchdown. So it did not matter. And then week 2 was pretty frustrating because Big Ben went out early, has some elbow issue, and they were in every single entry I had in all the contests this weekend. But altogether, a pretty solid weekend. 3-2 in Super Contest. Jared also 3-2 in the Super Contest. My gold entry was 3-2. Circa, I went 4-1, 3-2, and have a 3-1 pending with the Eagles. Jared went 2-3. So pretty solid weekend. I think we did a good job on the slate. Just some frustrating things. Kirk Cousins doing Kirk Cousins things, and Big Ben, elbow injuries. Betting against Russell Wilson never feels too good. And Josh Allen continues to Josh Allen, 2-0. Buffalo Bills looking sharp.
Yeah,
Circling the wagons.
And MetLife.
All weekend circling those wagons.
2 weekends in a row at MetLife.
Yeah, I know.
Circling the wagons.
They own it.
Staking claim to New York. That's what they're doing right there. And then,
they're staking claim to the other New York teams in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And now I'm sweating the Eagles game tonight in my third Circa entry. Hopefully they can cover, although it seems like a little bit of a public play, and there's some good trends for the Falcons on the Eagles -1, and hopefully they can get me 4-1 in that entry this weekend.
Yeah, a couple takeaways after week 2. We were on this. I should say I was on the Steelers both weeks. I'm quite concerned about their defense. It was, as Scott said, Ben Roethlisberger went out. They weren't really moving the ball prior to him going out, and then I think really anything that goes after he comes out of the game kind of has to be thrown out as it pertains to progress of the team. But they gave up 28 to the Seahawks, who's extremely conservative and didn't score any in the first quarter, and obviously they gave up 40 or 30 whatever to the Pats last week. So quite concerned about the Steelers defense, quite concerned about Mike Tomlin and his ability to get the team fired up. It's despite the fact that he's a defensive guy, or at least was the defensive coordinator in Minnesota before coming over to Pittsburgh, really hasn't had a quality defense in his tenure there. So that was something that was pretty surprising to me. And then whiffed on the Bengals this week. That's one of those ones you just look at the box score and they got their ass kicked, and that's okay. The wrong side, and on to the next week. Hit the screws on Kansas City, started a little slow. Same with the Rams, started a little slow, but then turn it on in the second quarter. I tell you what, man, I was thinking KC and Oakland, and then I tell you what, man, came out of my brain. I was very impressed with Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, and continued to be impressed with their resiliency. The defense is not awful, and I saw Kyler make some really, really good throws, very escapable out of the pocket. So I'll be encouraged and excited to see them throughout the rest of the season. But yeah, 3-2, as Scott mentioned. I forgot which one I swapped. I think I swapped KC for Minnesota in Circa.
Yeah, exactly.
And, that one.
Yeah, I just still can't believe Kirk Cousins. It seemed like he was trying to throw it away, and he didn't have the arm strength to throw it away, and it got picked in the end zone. Just so frustrating watching plays like that. They just
trying to throw it away and can't even get it out of bounds.
I'll tell you, they were getting cooked early, and then the defense just stood their ground the whole second half.
21 points, and they just shut it down after that.
Oh, so I just
defense is elite. Dalvin Cook rushed for what, 150?
Yeah,
and you lose.
Well, you could
Dalvin Cook season.
So I'll do my little rant here, and I'll get out of the way, because obviously I watched every single second of that game and was screaming at my television. One, early, obviously, that the Packers had 10, 15 plays that they knew they were going to just absolutely shred us on. That first drive, I was like, holy smokes, we're in for it. And then, so it's 21-0. Then Dalvin breaks that 78-yard run. It's like, okay, you really started to see the momentum start to shift. And it was, if there were to ever be a game, I mean, obviously you don't want to give up 21 points, but if there was a game where you, as Mike Zimmer, go, this is what we are capable of, we're going to run the ball, chew the clock, and then we're going to just shut you down on defense, that would be Zimmer right there. He'd say, this is it. And like, boop, like put it on a pedestal. There it is. But you can,
and it was nowhere to be found.
Well, I mean, they were driving, like 7-minute drive. You could see, I mean, Martinez had his hands on his hips. That Packers defense looked exhausted. Huge seams for these tailbacks to be going through. And then Cousins, he throws this jump ball to, I mean, if you're going to throw it away, throw it out of bounds right at the line of scrimmage. That's all you need to get it to. Get rid of it. It's first down. Live to play another down. I mean, we can't find a kicker either in Minnesota, so that's fun. Stephon Diggs, keep your freaking helmet on. 2, I think if you put anything in slow motion, Dalvin Cook's PI or whatever that was called, the blocking, it doesn't look like the DB's even trying to get around him. You literally see him holding on to Dalvin. So if it's mutually engaged, I feel like you shouldn't be able to call that, because if he's not fighting to get around it and Dalvin Cook's not holding him, then I don't think you can call PI. But that's just my 2 cents. And then I read this stat to you guys. So the Vikings averaged 7 yards per play and gave up 4.9 yards per play to the Packers. There's only been 13 games in the last 10 years in the NFL where the losing team has had more than 7 yards per play and the winning team has averaged less than 5 yards per play. Kirk Cousins has been the QB of that losing team 3 times since 2013.
I'll be interested to know if anyone else has more than one.
Yeah, me too.
I would be curious to know if any one quarterback has more than one game, and I would bet against it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like just fluky turnover. Usually that's like a fluke turnover, whatever. Ball bounces the wrong way for a team X, and they have like 5-2 turnovers and they lose the game.
Mm-hmm.
But
it goes even on turnovers as well.
Yeah, which makes it it's even worse. I mean, he's getting paid $30 million to do that, which is I don't know that he's any different than what he was in Washington.
Well, he hasn't figured out how to hold on to the football.
They were.
Oh, we'll let him off the hook.
He's just getting paid more now.
Got him on the hook.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
So that's my rant. That's a game that's back-to-back years where we should have won games at Lambeau Field and we didn't. And that nipped us in the butt last year, and that could nip us in the butt again this year.
Yep. Those are huge swing games at the end of the year, because that division is going to be so bunched up. Because the Bears snuck out a win today. And talk about swings of emotion at the end of that game. They're going to go for 2. So I had plus 2.5 in one of my circa entries with Denver, and I'm thrilled because either way is win-win. They either go up, and the worst case they're going to lose by 2, so I'm still covering, or they don't get it and they're not going to get the onside kick and game over. So they line up for 2, delay of game. You're Joe Flacco, you're a veteran. That can't happen. So then go back. All right, we're going to kick the field goal. Go to kick the field goal. Shanks it. All right, Buster screen off sides. Well, dope. Go back. Oh, we're going to go for 2 again. Convert it. Wild. So I'm thrilled. I know I'm going to cover. But now I just kind of want the Bears to lose because I think it's entertaining. And then the Bears, Mitch Trubisky leads them down for a field goal. 1 second left. Allen Robinson goes down, call timeout. They initially say 0 time left on the clock, but they give him the second back. And then Eddie Pinheiro, no idea. If you could not pay me to bet on where he went to college.
He was a Gator.
Drills the field goal. And Vic Fangio's got that stupid look on his face as he walks off the field 0-2 and breaking some serious trends for Denver advantage at home.
Is Vic Fangio this year's Steve Wilkes?
I don't think so. I love what he did actually, going for 2 on the second go around there goal. But no, I don't think he's Steve Wilkes. But he's definitely not very good. But he's in a tough spot because he's got Joe Flacco at quarterback and he looks terrible. He's not good anymore. I'm telling you, it's better.
Yeah. What did we say, Scott? Case Keenum is better than Joe Flacco, who's better than Eli Manning.
Yep.
Denver 0-2, Giants 0-2.
Yeah.
Well, Skins are 0-2, but
Skins are 0-2, but the rest of that team is terrible.
doesn't help the
if
argument.
Keenum was still in Denver, they'd be 1-1.
Here's my thing.
Agree.
If you're the Broncos, don't touch him. Allen Robinson goes down. If you don't touch him, the clock runs out, and then you touch him, and the game's over. Because he doesn't quarterback slide. They don't have a timeout. Bada bing, bada boom. Game's over. You win.
Think about that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You're probably not thinking about that while it's actually happening.
Yeah,
but
it's tough. Right?
I know it's tough, but I feel like that's situational awareness. But hey.
Another game that
Exhibit 687 million of the fact that none of these guys have situational awareness when they're playing.
Another game I want to point to, and we talked about it on the podcast on Thursday, but Tennessee coming off a big emotional win, letdown game. We were predicting it Colts outright winner. We were liking the +3. It wasn't a super contest play, much to my chagrin. Had it in one of my circa entries, but Jacoby Brissett looked okay. Nothing special. They'll be an interesting team to, bet throughout the year on some big spreads, but pretty disappointed in Tennessee. That's a game that you got to win at home and, let it slip through their hands. And, they missed some field goals too. Cairo Santos missed some field goals. They would have had the winner. But I think we kind of nailed that one as a look ahead.
I still even like the Jags in that division. The price is a little cheaper than, or rather, it's a little more expensive now than what we got it at. But I liked what I saw from the Jags today. I liked what I saw from the coaching team. I like what I saw from the defense. I will continue to bet that team at those numbers.
Oh man, yeah, absolutely betting that number. I don't like the 2-point conversion call sticking in Fournette's stomach.
No.
That whole drive they were going Gardner Minshew. I think maybe they thought they'd catch him off guard, but I don't like that play call.
Just roll him out.
Yeah. He had been getting in space. They were gassed. Extended play. Someone will get open. So a little disappointed in that one. But, yeah, I don't think they're dead, but Nick Foles out until week 11. I don't know. And now they have a short week with a rookie quarterback. So
Gardner Minshew wore that on the plane that I'm sure everyone saw by now. If not, just check our Twitter profile. And then I found out that he, according to the beat reporter for the Jags, that he stretches pregame simply in his jockstrap and nothing else.
This is true. It just makes sense that guy did what he did at Washington State, because I feel like him and Leach had a secret language that they could just kind of move their eyebrows in a certain way. And it's oh, okay, I got it. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, Jared, yes, after looking at this statistic further, he is the only one to have multiple.
Not surprised.
Games. So, yeah.
Not surprised. He's terrible.
Now, looking ahead to week 3, it looks like Drew Brees is going to see a specialist about his wrist. So they travel to Seattle. Teddy Bridgewater looked terrible today. Absolutely terrible.
I think Teddy Bridgewater said, "Oh shit, I got to play."
Yeah. He was not expecting that. He did not look good. So that's definitely a team to bet against if Drew Brees is going to be out. And
that's a lot of travel.
Taysom Hill.
That's a lot of travel. I don't think people will talk about that because I think they presume that New Orleans is a more central team, but that's a lot of miles. New Orleans to LA, back to New Orleans, up to Seattle.
They're staying, aren't they? Correct?
I'd hope that they're staying.
I thought I heard on the broadcast they were.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where are they practicing?
I didn't hear as much as that, but that's something we can look into.
I'm telling you, I think that's part of the reason why the Niners showed out today is that they had a week and it was just all football, nothing but football in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, where you definitely can't get into any trouble. And I think that's part of the reason why they just looked so good today and just laid it on the Bengals, much to Jerry's unhappiness. But
hashtag Sadsies.
Hashtag Sadsies big time.
They gave it to him. It wasn't close.
Not
it
at
was
all.
on like Donkey Kong from the jump. So was not surprised after, say, the first quarter at that outcome.
And now week 3 is just going to have some massive lines: Cowboys, Dolphins, Pats, Jets, and even some of the ancillary games when you got, Eagles, Lions is probably going to be over 7. You're going to have Minnesota, Oakland, and there's one other.
Scott,
yep.
What do you think Dolphins and Cowboys?
Dolphins, Cowboys is going to be.
What's the line?
Probably going to be like 21 points by the end.
Wow.
Of it.
I'm saying 16.
Just because the Dolphins just look so inept on both sides of the ball, their offensive line is just going to get tortured by the Cowboys next week. I mean, do you roll the dice? Say it's 21. Do you roll the dice with it sounds like Josh Rosen may be coming in as well. Do you roll the dice on Josh Rosen? It's a lot of points.
If I'm Josh Rosen, I'm saying, please don't. Just please. Just wait until you get somebody up front so I don't die. I came here because I wanted to win, and I was hoping to be a part of a team that thought I was their guy. And now you're tanking. Don't ruin my career because you suck at everything.
I'm looking at it right now. Bet online 20.5. Cowboys minus 115.
Wild.
The Cowboys laying 21 points to anybody. Wow. The NFL.
I can't believe it.
I'm gonna. That means we're gonna have to hear this nonsense about would Bama beat the Dolphins.
They put one out today about who won the Canadian Football League this year, and they're saying who would win between that team.
It's not out yet.
And the Dolphins. And
That's
I thought that was interesting.
more realistic.
Yeah.
What rules do you play by?
Ooh, good question.
Got to do 4 downs.
We're gonna have to go to our man Tori Gurley on that one.
That's true.
Seriously.
That's true.
Say Tori, which rules will we play and who would win? 20.5. Wow, shocker. Bills only 5.5. Scott. I mean, I know this isn't the preview pod, but
yeah, I was projecting 6, so that's tailor made. Buffalo Bills just couldn't get a better start. Couldn't be more happy with my Buffalo Bills. And we still got 2 games in the pocket against the Dolphins. Fantastic.
That's right.
Yes, it's beautiful.
I was talking to some buddies about going up to Buffalo week 8 against the Eagles to see both of my favorite quarterbacks. It just sounds so juicy. So if you're in the Buffalo area, tweet at us and let us know your thoughts.
Gotta see Scott flying in.
Get the best ones.
Yep, Scott flying in from the top of our RV, just mushing on a table. That's what I need to see. That's the only highlights I care about if this actually happens. So a couple of housekeeping things, I guess, before we sign off the recap show. Fellas, you want to give an update on who is in the lead in the best ball competition?
So D. Carney took the lead today, had a big day from Brady, had some points from Eckler and Frank Gore. So he took the lead in the best ball. Jared and I. Jared took the lead over me, just ever so slightly. But disappointing, I must say, from a personal standpoint, a very disappointing fantasy day. Had a little Kirk Cousins, had a little Big Ben going. So it was pretty much a puke fest for me today. And then I found myself going up against the New England defense in 3 leagues. So that was #sadsies in a big way. And then
Tell me
tomorrow night, Jets, Browns. Jared, do you have an opinion?
No, but yes, I do. But did you see the Tyler Eifert touchdown today on Red Zone?
I missed it.
I thought about texting you because I drafted Tyler Eifert in the best ball. I don't remember if it was for Pigs and Junkies or another one that Scott and I are doing together. And he just texted me the barf face emoji, and I'm like, if his knees don't like fall off their caps, then maybe he'll be okay this year. And he caught a touchdown today, so it was worth the draft pick at that point. But opinion tomorrow, yeah, take the Browns. I mean, it's not just a Sam Darnold thing. They got the whole team's out.
Yeah,
like all their defensive players. I mean, has the number moved? Is it above 6.5?
It's still at 6.5.
Yeah, I mean, just I'm borderline allergic to laying that many points on the road, because the Cleveland Browns are not the Kansas City Chiefs, and I would much rather lay that amount of points with a dynamic offense as opposed to Cleveland, which I think is still unknown and to a certain extent unproven this year.
Like Jared, this is going to be a heavy stay away game for me because I have too much rooting interest in the Jets to cover somehow because over 2,000 people in the Super Contest took the Browns. And amazingly, I think we predicted that number that was going to be 2,000 people on the Thursday pod, which is just wild. I've never seen anything even over like 1,200 in Super Contest. So to have over 2,000 people on a team is just wild. So huge Jets fans tomorrow. I'm staying away. I don't want any part of it. But yeah, I mean, the whole Jets team is out. Quinn Williams is out. C.J. Mosley is out. Obviously Sam Darnold's out. So, I mean, I don't know who's going to score. I just saw Carson Wentz intercepted puke phase. So I don't know who's going to score for the Jets.
We got to do these things during the game. It's too juicy. We get the live reactions.
I know. Right? I'm not watching the game. I have it on stupid Gamecast. But I mean, I have no idea who's going to score for the Jets, and I definitely don't know who's going to stop anyone from scoring on that defense. So it should be a huge Odell, Chubb, Baker Mayfield day.
So if you don't have an interest in the Super Contest, I feel strongly about the Browns and their ability to win tomorrow night. But if you want to listen and go back to the pod that we had on Thursday in the preview pod, Scott and I both explained why neither of us ultimately wound up choosing the Browns this week. And we have a free roll effectively on the Jets tomorrow night. So we'll be huge Jets fans. Hopefully they cover the 2.5. Of course, neither of us think that it's likely. But if you're intrigued or interested at all in the game theory of why we chose what we chose or didn't choose in this case, go back and listen to Thursday's pod.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just going to watch the game for a little bit and then go to sleep because I don't care. I mean, I feel like...
Yeah, too late games.
Yeah, I don't want to listen to Booger either. So, the Monday Night Crew is really... They've been scrambling for about 2 years. So that's going to do it for this week's edition. Little housekeeping as well. I'll say it today and I'll say it again later. I will be in Minneapolis for Vikings Raiders next week. So we will not have a recap show on Sunday. It will probably come on Monday. So therefore you will be hearing it Tuesday morning. So I'll reiterate that again later. If you would please rate, review, subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter @pigskin_junkies will be much appreciated. Thanks so much for tuning in, junkies. I'm Michael Larson. That's Jerry Larson. That's Scott Panza. We are out of here.
Night.
See ya.